Alright guys, let's get real for a second. We're talking about serious stuff, the kind of stuff that's haunted humanity for centuries. Plagues. From the Black Death that tore through medieval Europe to the Spanish flu that swept the globe a century ago, we're going on a journey to understand these pandemics. We'll see how they didn't just bring death and devastation, but also drove advancements in medicine, public health, and even our understanding of the world around us. Get ready to explore the impact of the plague of Justinian, or the third cholera pandemic. Imagine Europe in the 14th century. It's 1346. Life is hard, right? Now picture this. A mysterious illness starts ripping through cities and villages. People are dropping dead in the streets, their bodies covered in these horrific, painful black boils. This, my friends, is the Black Death. The plague, we now know, was caused by this bacteria called Yersinia pestis, carried by fleas that hitched rides on rats. But back then, it was like something out of a nightmare. People were terrified. They thought it was a punishment from God, the apocalypse. It wiped out an estimated 25 million people in just 5 years. Can you imagine a third of Europe's population gone? Entire families wiped out, villages turned into ghost towns. The social and economic upheaval was off the charts. With so many people dying, there were labor shortages, trade collapsed, and the whole feudal system began to unravel. The Black Death forced people to rethink their ideas about medicine, sanitation, and even governance. They started to understand the importance of quarantine and hygiene, laying the groundwork for future public health measures. The Black Death, for all its horrors, forced humanity to adapt and innovate, ultimately shaping the world we live in today. Fast forward to the 20th century, a time of supposed progress and enlightenment. The world was at war, yeah, but there was this sense that humanity was on the cusp of something great. And then, bam, the Spanish flu hit. It was 1918, the tail end of World War I, and this new, deadly strain of influenza emerged, ripping through the battle-scarred globe with terrifying speed. It was called the Spanish flu, not because it originated in Spain. The pandemic actually likely started in the United States, but because Spain, being neutral in the war, was more open about reporting the outbreak. This flu, it was unlike anything people had seen before. It was incredibly contagious and incredibly deadly, particularly among young adults, the very people who were supposed to be rebuilding the world after the war. It attacked the lungs, causing pneumonia, and in severe cases, people would literally drown in their own fluids. An estimated 50 to 100 million people died worldwide, more than the casualties of the war itself. The Spanish flu exposed the fragility of even the most advanced societies. Hospitals were overwhelmed, cities were shut down, and fear gripped the world. Scientists raced to understand the virus, developing vaccines and treatments that would lay the groundwork for fighting future pandemics. The lessons learned from the Spanish flu, though hard-won, were invaluable. They underscored the importance of global cooperation in the face of health crises and highlighted the need for continued investment in research and public health infrastructure. Let's rewind even further now, back to the 6th century AD, to the Byzantine Empire. This was a time of great upheaval, with the Roman Empire in the west crumbling and a new power rising in the east. The Byzantine Empire, under the reign of Emperor Justinian, was on the verge of reclaiming the lost territories of Rome. But then, disaster struck. A devastating plague, known as the Plague of Justinian, swept through the empire and beyond, leaving death and destruction in its wake. This, my friends, was the first recorded pandemic, and it hit the world hard. The plague, we believe now, was also caused by Yersinia pestis, the same bacteria responsible for the Black Death centuries later. It arrived in Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire, on grain ships from Egypt, and from there it spread like wildfire. People were dying in droves. The symptoms were horrific: fever, chills, swollen lymph nodes, gangrene, and a painful death. It's estimated that at its peak, the plague of Justinian was killing up to 10,000 people per day in Constantinople alone. The impact on the Byzantine Empire was catastrophic. The plague decimated the population, weakened the army, and crippled the economy. Justinian's dreams of restoring the Roman Empire were dashed. and the Byzantine Empire was plunged into a period of decline. The plague of Justinian, like all pandemics, forced humanity to adapt, to find new ways to survive and rebuild. Now, let's fast forward to the 19th century, a time of industrial revolution, urbanization, and, unfortunately, terrible sanitation. Cities were booming, but with that growth came overcrowding, poverty, and a lack of basic hygiene. It was the perfect breeding ground for disease, and cholera, a deadly waterborne illness, thrived in this environment. The third cholera pandemic, which began in India in 1852, was the deadliest of the 7 cholera pandemics, spreading rapidly through trade routes to Asia, Europe, North America, and even Australia. This wasn't just a case of bad luck. It exposed the deep inequalities and failings of the industrial age. Cholera, for those of you who don't know, is a horrific illness. It's caused by bacteria that contaminate water and food, leading to severe diarrhea, vomiting, dehydration, and often death. The impact of the third cholera pandemic was devastating, particularly in poorer communities with limited access to clean water and sanitation. Millions died, and fear of the disease was rampant. The cholera outbreaks forced people to confront the link between filth and disease. It spurred advancements in public health, leading to improvements in sanitation, water treatment, and waste disposal. One of the key figures in this fight was John Snow, a London doctor who, through meticulous mapping of cholera cases, traced the source of an outbreak to a contaminated water pump on Broad Street. His work, though initially met with resistance, revolutionized our understanding of how diseases spread and paved the way for modern epidemiology. The third cholera pandemic was a wake-up call, showing that progress without addressing social and environmental factors could have deadly consequences. Now, let's journey back to the 16th century, to a series of devastating epidemics that reshaped the fate of an empire, the Cocoliztli Epidemics. These epidemics struck the Aztec Empire with a ferocity that left the population decimated, killing millions. The Cocoliztli epidemics were marked by high fevers, bleeding, and severe dehydration, symptoms that baffled the medical knowledge of the time. The arrival of the Spanish brought new diseases to which the indigenous population had no immunity, exacerbating the impact of the epidemics. The epidemics, fueled by the introduction of European pathogens, played a significant role in the fall of the Aztec Empire. The once thriving cities of the Aztecs were left in ruins, their population drastically reduced. But amidst the devastation, the Spanish saw an opportunity to solidify their control over the region. They imposed their culture, religion, and governance, forever altering the social fabric of the region. The indigenous people faced exploitation, forced labor, and a loss of their cultural identity. And slowly, the landscape of the region began to change. Historians and scientists have worked tirelessly to understand the impact of the Cocoliztli epidemics and their role in the fall of the Aztec Empire. Researchers continue to uncover the extent of the devastation and its lasting effects on the region. The legacy of the Cocoliztli epidemics is a reminder of the fragility of civilizations in the face of disease. Today, the descendants of the Aztecs continue to honor their heritage and remember the resilience of their ancestors. The study of past epidemics like Cocoliztli helps us understand the importance of preparedness and resilience in the face of new health threats. The Cocoliztli epidemics remind us that our health and well-being are deeply interconnected, transcending time and borders. Now we turn our gaze to the mid-17th century, to the bustling streets of London, where another devastating bubonic plague outbreak would leave its mark on history. The Great Plague of London, 1665 to 1666. In just over a year, this relentless epidemic claimed the lives of approximately 100,000 people, nearly a quarter of the city's population. The plague spread rapidly, with the poor and overcrowded areas of the city being the hardest hit. Symptoms included fever, chills, headaches, and the notorious buboes, painful swellings of the lymph nodes. The city was gripped by fear and panic as the death toll rose, and the authorities struggled to contain the outbreak. In an effort to control the spread, the infected were quarantined in their homes, marked by a painted red cross on the door and the words, "Lord have mercy upon us." The streets of London fell eerily silent, with businesses shuttered and the once bustling markets deserted. The dead were buried in mass graves, often without proper rites, as the city grappled with the sheer scale of the disaster. Yet from this darkness emerged lessons that would reshape public health in England. The Great Plague highlighted the dire need for better sanitation and waste management. The contaminated air, or miasma, was believed to be a key factor in the spread of the disease, prompting efforts to clean up the streets and improve living conditions. The aftermath of the Great Plague saw the introduction of more structured public health measures, including the establishment of health boards and the implementation of quarantine protocols during future outbreaks. These steps laid the groundwork for modern public health practices. The Great Plague of London serves as a stark reminder of the impact of disease on urban populations and the importance of sanitation and public health infrastructure in protecting communities. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity and the enduring quest for a healthier, safer world. So, there you have it, a glimpse into the long and often harrowing history of pandemics. From the Black Death to Spanish flu, these outbreaks have left an indelible mark on humanity, shaping our societies, our cultures, and our very understanding of the world. But these stories are not just about death and devastation. They're also stories of resilience, of innovation, of the incredible capacity of the human spirit to adapt, overcome, and rebuild. By understanding the pandemics of the past, we can better prepare for the challenges of the future.